Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Peeling Back the Label. We were off for a few weeks, but we're back up and running. And today I have a very special guest, award-winning author, actually multi-award winning author, Effie, and I'm gonna just badger her name, Kammenou. I don't. She'll correct me when when she comes on. It's a beautiful Greek name that I just can't pronounce. So let's get Effie connected, and I can't wait to talk to her. Let's see. So just hang on. I'm just waiting for Effie to come in. We'll see. Just waiting for her to connect. But in the meantime, while we're waiting for Effie to connect, okay, here we go. Internet gods are good to me when I when I do the live interviews because you just never know. It's the internet. Yay, it worked. I'm
Hi.
always so happy when it works because sometimes, it doesn't. It just, the internet gods just don't like me. And it might take a few minutes, but today it worked like a charm. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Can you pronounce your last name? Because I butchered that beautiful Greek name.
Kammenou.
Say it again.
Kammenou.
Kammenou. Okay, okay. So I guess I kind of said it a little bit okay, but I wasn't sure. But you say it so much better than I do. I was just telling everybody that, you have won, quite a few awards and, with your gift saga, and we're going to talk about your books and just a little bit about you and all that other kind of good stuff. I personally read the Waiting for Aegina, right? Is that how you say it?
Aina.
Oh, see, Aina.
The G in Greek, the way they pronounce it, like when they say words like gyro,
Yeah.
it's not gyro, it's gyro. The,
Oh,
the, the G is kind of
okay.
like a G and a Y, but in the back of the throat. So
Right.
it's the,
I
the,
gotcha.
the island is called Aina.
Oh, okay. All right. I gotcha.
But I can see
Um,
how they would, use
yeah. I mean,
pronounce it
I'm
that way.
sure being a Greek American, I'm sure you know that we're going to say it
That's
wrong.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. You're used to it by now.
Yes.
And then we actually did a book tour for you for Avanthia's gift, and everybody loved that, that book. So I loved the Waiting for Aina. I loved listening to I ended up doing the audio book, and that narrator was so good at her Greek. Now, did you have to like do a lot of research finding the right one,
Yeah,
or
well,
you knew somebody?
yes. I probably listened to about 100 narrators
Oh my
before I
goodness.
chose her. And she was the one that I wanted out of the gate. But as a self-published author, it everything was on me. So doing an audio book is very expensive.
Yes.
And she was one of the more expensive ones. But I wanted the book done correctly, and I wanted somebody that could handle all the voices. And she had never done a Greek accent before, but she'd done many other accents before. And she does work with a dialect coach,
Oh,
but aside from that, I gave her all the phonetic pronunciations of everything written out. And then I also, when you listen back, you do corrections. So there were several words that I had to do corrections on. Even so, a Greek person listening to her would say, that doesn't really sound right. I mean, her accent isn't perfect.
see,
When
to
I
me, because I don't
listen,
know, so
when
it
I
sounded
speak
good to
Greek,
me.
when I speak Greek, my accent's not perfect. I'm a New Yorker. When I go to Greece, they ask me where I'm from, and if I say, "Oh, my family's from Kefalonia or Athena," my mother was born and raised in Athens, but her father was from Kefalonia, and my father's family is from Mytilene, another island on the Aegean. Um, they say, "No, no, no. Where are you from?" And I say, "Oh, I'm from New York." They could tell that
Hmm.
I definitely
Hmm.
speak with an accent, just like people who come here speak with accents.
Yeah.
But but I think she did a phenomenal
Yeah,
job.
I enjoyed it, and I kind of related to some of this stuff. Um, we have family friends for, oh my goodness, since I was in probably before I even started school, we had neighbors that were Greeks, and we stayed friends with them the whole time. We're still friends with them, so just enjoying some of their holidays. And they in the beginning they lived with their the couple lived with their grandparents, so of course we got to know Yaya and
Yeah.
Papa Gods, so and I wanted to ask you later on about these delicious cookies this lady used to make, and you might have the recipe. It's the Kupa Yatsa or
Could have, yeah,
something.
that's
Yeah, the cookies with the
powdered
powdered
sugar.
sugar.
One
Oh
of
my
my
God.
books has the recipe in there because all of
Oh,
my books
every
have recipes.
I'm listening to the store and I'm like, I want Yaya's cookies. I want those cookies. I just kept on thinking of the cookies the whole entire time that I'm listening to the book. I was just like, my mouth was watering because I just kept on thinking about her cookies.
So all of my books have recipes in them. I before I started writing books, I was writing a food blog, and the reason I started the food blog was because everybody kept saying, "Can you give me this recipe? Can you give me that recipe?" And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna put it in a food blog,
Right.
and that just direct everybody to the food blog every time they ask me for a recipe. So I started the food blog, and then when I started writing the book, uh, Greek cooking and food is like so ingrained in Greek culture, as it is in many cultures. So I said, you know what? When I talk about food in the books, I feel like for the non-Greek reader, especially, if the ingredients are there, maybe they'll have a little bit more of a sense of what the food is or what it might taste like. So I scattered recipes throughout each of
Yeah, I
the books.
love that.
Yeah, and people, I've gotten a great response to that because many people told me that they have tried the recipes, or it's helped them get an idea of what the food is, or they plan on trying the recipes. Some of them are pastries, some of them are actual, you know, main dishes, some of them are appetizers. So yeah, so one of the books definitely has the gurabiatas in there, but I'm not sure which one. I can't
Okay,
remember
okay.
offhand because I've written 6 books and all of them have recipes.
Right, right. So you no longer do the food blog?
It's still up. I do post every once in a
Okay.
while. I kind of integrated it. Once I started writing the books, I kind of integrated it with a little bit of the marketing with the books, because
Yeah.
I would put little excerpts of where the food came into play with a certain recipe. I haven't given it much attention, but people still tell me that they refer to it.
Yeah, I think you need to write a cookbook.
It's so funny because my daughter is a art director for a beauty brand, but she actually started in magazines, and she worked for Real Simple and Reader's
Okay.
Digest and Teen Vogue, and she had been on me for a long time to write a companion book, cookbook,
Yes,
and
yes.
she
That
had,
that's come quite
yeah.
quite the thing now. I think you need to do it.
Yeah, she has she did a lot of food styling and art direction, and
See, so you
and
already have her.
no,
She's free, hopefully.
no, not really. She's in Florida now, but
Oh,
she
okay.
had people in mind for photographers, and but it's something that's been in the back of my mind, but I don't know if it'll ever come to be.
Well, we need, I don't really know if there a lot of Greek cookbooks out
There's a
there.
lot.
There is.
There's a
Okay, okay. See,
lot
I
more
didn't
than you
know.
think.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I had become friends with um, a chef that through social media, and we keep in touch many years later. She's considerably younger than me. She's really my daughter's ages, um, and she wrote a couple of cookbooks that I have that are wonderful. And through her, I've met other people that have written other cookbooks, and they're all good because there's so many different islands and regions in Greece that I don't really use cookbooks. I use my mother's recipes for the most part, but sometimes it's nice to see different takes on, the different regions
Mhm.
and how they might cook the same recipe, the same type of food.
Right. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you got to get on that, Effie. You definitely have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to honor your mom's recipes, put them in there. Put your twist on them, and just talk about the book as you're doing the cookbook. And they'll definitely want to buy. They'll definitely want to buy the cookbook if they read the book because all the recipes are in one
right.
little area. They don't have to go through the books.
It's something to think about.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
maybe
big
one day.
undertaking because now it's like
Oh
there's
yeah,
a certain
it's
way of
huge.
writing recipes. There's now you're talking about pictures,
Yeah.
and it's like a whole different animal.
No, you're right. And you have to have it, you have to really, I was watching Ina Gardner, and she was saying that you have to, well, she didn't say it this way, but basically you have to really dumb down the recipe, like, because you can't assume somebody knows.
It's true.
You have to write it like if somebody doesn't really know, like peel the banana and mash it. Like she forgot to put peel the banana. But they corrected her and said
You
you
would
have to write
assume,
peel.
right?
She's like, a monkey could peel the banana, like knows to peel the banana. We all are humans know, but like you have to still put it. So it gets really nitpicky like that, and you're like, come on. But yeah,
Right.
it is a lot. It's definitely a lot of work between the pictures and the writing and getting everything right, and it's a lot of work. I totally get it.
I mean, I'm a home cook. I'm not a chef, but
But that's okay.
yeah,
you know there's so many home cooks out there that have so much to offer, and obviously the recipes in your book, people, they love them, so
yeah,
maybe one day
maybe, maybe.
I'll remind you every now and then.
Okay.
Now tell me about, let's talk about your books. Why did you call it like the gift saga? Let's start with that.
For some reason, it was very hard for me to figure out what to title the actual series.
Hmm.
I really struggled with that. So I know a lot of times they'll just, whatever the first name of the book is, they'll just
Yeah.
name that the
Hmm.
Evanthea series or whatever. Um, but I think because the whole series in the end comes full circle, and what Evanthea kind of gave to her descendants uh, is a gift, um, not really physically, but
Hmm.
her
I like that.
message, her life, her legacy.
Hmm.
I felt that was the gift. And there is an actual physical gift in the book of Evanthea's gift. It was a ring that she left to her son through her brother. And if you read that book, you know that she was fought in the resistance during World War II, and she and her husband and her other children were killed
Hmm.
um, by the Nazis. And she left this ring and a letter to her son, who was the only survivor because he wasn't home that day.
Hmm.
Um, but that was the physical gift, but the gift was so much more than that, and it turns out to be so much more than that because through this book, through the generations, it just kind of gets carried on
Hmm.
in a way that I didn't even expect when I started writing the book. Just kind of became a life of its own
Hmm.
through the family and the friends of Sophia.
Yes, I love that. Do you happen to have the books in front of you that you could show the audience?
So this one is Evanthea's Gift.
Okay, so
It's
that's book number
That's
one.
book number one. It's a very long book, and it's been noted that it's a very long book. I wrote it in part one and part two. Um, I was actually recommended to actually make this one two books, but I
Hmm.
didn't want to. The reason is book two was always a story I had in my head, and then my mom passed away, and I started to write a character based on my mom, which turned out to be Sophia's mother. And and it was supposed to be a little backstory, just Sophia's
Hmm.
mom. But it ended up taking on a life of its own. And it could be a separate book, but I don't think it stands on its own enough. And I feel like the two support each other.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
know it's a long book, but I just felt that it was important to keep them together. So this is the longest book I'll probably ever write. It took 3 years. Um, and then I had another story in mind that I wanted to write about. My next book was going to be about 5 lifelong friends from childhood. And then when I started to write Evanthea's Gift, I said, well, why don't I just incorporate that and turn it into a series? So
Hmm.
I had Sophia and her childhood friends. And Waiting for Aina continues that story.
Yeah,
So it's
love your yeah, I love your covers. They're all so beautiful.
so this one was actually, I hired a photographer in Greece, and I
Oh.
told her what I wanted, and she did a photo shoot, and she sent me like 200 pictures. And this is, I mean, it was so hard to, she sent me so many beautiful pictures, but
Uh,
the one that I picked. So this one goes back in time to when they are teenagers, and it goes back and
hmm.
forth from things that happened when they were younger and how they thought their life would be and how it kind of unravels and turns out, and
Hmm.
how life is not quite how you expect it to be to get to where you think you're going to be, and how it actually ends up.
Yeah,
Um,
I love the way you went the back and forth and stuff. I like that. You're getting the backstory,
right. And like, as I always do in all my books, even in my second series, I go do a little historical elements where you're learning something from the past,
Hmm.
and you're learning something from your older generations. They're bringing something to you, to the younger generations, a little bit of wisdom and a little
Hmm.
bit of insight. And I think that's important. I think
Oh,
sometimes it's
I
very lost today.
I
And
I I totally agree. The older generation, they have so much to offer if you would just sit and listen to them for a little while, and you can learn so much from them.
yeah, yeah. Um, so that was book 2. And then book 3 actually continues with Sophia's children and their friends,
Oh,
their
okay.
friends' children. So, so that's the younger generation, which would be like my children's
Hmm.
age.
Hmm.
So it brings us into present time.
Right.
But then this book actually goes back as far as the 1920s, because when the granddaughter goes back to the grandmother's home on an island before she moved to Athens, um, other things get uncovered.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, other stories. And she learns the one, Sophia's daughter learns about things that she didn't even know, that even Sophia didn't even know, so about her family history.
Very interesting. Very
Yeah.
nice. I love that.
And and then Waiting for Aina had a lot of inspiration from friends of mine, of what I thought maybe a couple of my friends would become, like when they
Hmm.
were
Hmm.
teenagers. And I thought, okay, this one I think would become a fashion designer. This one I thought would become a congresswoman or a senator. And,
Hmm.
and they're not anything like my
Hmm.
friends today, the ones that inspired it, and they don't look like them. They don't have the same type of life, but it was the spark. And
Yeah, yeah.
there was something else. Another friend that I had met actually through social media that I still keep in touch with today, a young woman. She said to me, "I have a story I want to tell you that I've never really told anybody else, and I would." Like to share it with you because you might be able to use it in a book one day. And I was
Oh,
still writing Evanthea's Gift at this point. I was like finishing it up. And she said, it's very personal. It was something that was very hurtful to me. I said, okay, well, write it down. She goes, well, I'm not really a writer. I said, doesn't matter. Just tell me your story. She sent me like a 5-page email about how she went to Greece, met a guy, fell in love, and she ended up in an abusive relationship. And
Mhm.
I said, oh, wow, okay. I'm glad she's out of that now.
Yeah.
Literally her, after putting up with it way longer, and that was the first thing I asked her was, I literally picked up the phone and I had to ask, why, after the first time he hit you, did you put up with it? I had to know, I had to
Mhm.
understand.
Yeah.
So, we had a long chat about it, and basically, it's what I've heard before, that they blame themselves. They think it's their fault. The guy convinces them that they've done something wrong to
Mhm.
deserve.
Mhm.
And she said her esteem was very low at the time. And
Yeah.
um, so when I was writing the different arcs for the characters, I decided to give Mindy that arc.
Mhm.
And it's not where I ever thought I was going to go. And it's interesting how you get inspiration from different things, because I really didn't know. I knew Mindy was going to become a fashion designer, but I didn't know how her life was going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I ended up giving her that. Uh, it's not the same set of
Mhm.
circumstances. I changed
Mhm.
some of the,
Yeah.
some of the context, but this is where I got the inspiration from Mindy's abuse. And in fact, it kind of continues in Chasing Petaludes, where one of the characters she recognizes in another young character, and um, she nips it in the bud because she's been through it.
Right. Right.
Even
Been there,
even though
done that.
yeah, even though the girl is denying it,
Mhm.
she's
Mhm.
recognizing it.
Yeah, that's
So
not only the only controversial things that you kind of, well, not that it's controversial, but controversial, sensitive, whatever. You do have a few in your book, just in that one particular book. I don't know about the other one. So I was like, well, she's brave. She's writing about this, writing about
yeah,
that. But people
yeah,
need to hear that sometimes. They need to learn and know.
it's funny because one of the reviewers had, and it stuck in my mind. Her review said this book is grittier than Evanthea's Gift. So I guess that was her way of saying there is more sensitive material
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
more delicate material in there than
Hmm.
Evanthea's Gift is. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, because it deals with teen suicide too,
Yeah, yeah.
Donna's son, and the reasons for
Hmm.
it. Um, you know
But I
what?
think everything was all real life. I mean, this is happening, today. I mean, the book could pertain to, you know, 15 years ago, 15 years ahead. I mean, it's all stuff that real life, happens in real life.
It's
So I commend
interesting
you.
because Evanthea's Gift and Chasing Petaludis I have categorized as romance.
Hmm.
Waiting for Aina is women's fiction.
Hmm.
Even though
Hmm.
they're in the same series, and even though there's romance
That's,
elements
hmm.
in Waiting for Aina,
Hmm.
it's it's not a romance. It's maybe a romance between these friends, these loyal friends that
Hmm.
stick together through thick and thin, and it continues the romance between
Hmm.
Sophie and Dean and how they bond even
Hmm.
stronger. And there's, they all get their little romance except for maybe Donna, who actually finds the romance within herself to be
Hmm.
stronger.
Hmm.
But it's not a romance. It's about the women finding out who they are,
Yeah.
and living through these life struggles. Um, and like I said, it's about these women that were young teenagers. They were 14, 15. They had these aspirations. They went to college. They thought life was going to take these turns.
Hmm.
And not, it didn't quite turn out the way they expected, because life doesn't turn
Yeah,
out the way
it
they
never
expect.
really does, you know.
Yeah. Um, and that's why I also, if you've noticed in Evanthea's Gift and Waiting for Aina, I put real life events mixed in, like the Flight 800, the um, 9/11. I couldn't
Yep.
go through those time periods without, and living in New York,
Yeah.
and the book set in New York, and ignore those times
Hmm.
and have it be a realistic book.
Yeah. No,
Some
I
people
loved
can,
reading it and hearing about all the, you know, oh, the hospital in Port Jefferson, or we're going here or going, you know, I loved, you know, being a New Yorker. I loved, you know, of course you love hearing about your hometown, you know. So that was
yes,
fun for me.
I know the people that I grew up with, because the book is set, Evanthea's Gift, this book is set in Comac during my time period, and all the places that don't exist anymore in this from the 70s in Comac, and the music that I, mentioned,
Hmm.
and people were like, oh my gosh, this brought back so many
Yeah.
memories, you know.
No, it
But
was nice. It was nice. I love when authors, you know, they put it, you know, especially when, you know, you're from New York and you hear it, and it just makes the book even more special, you know?
yeah, um, I I mean, I love books. I like when writers write their books in certain places where they live. I mean, I read all the Ellen Hildebrand books. She writes
Yes.
everything in Nantucket for the most
Yes.
part, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to think of, like there's certain authors that write wherever they live. I know, um, what's, she writes everything in Seattle. Oh, I can't think of her name right now, but I've read a whole bunch of her books, and
Hmm. And I
it's
love it because you really, you know, like you really learn about, you know, you learn about Seattle, and you're learning about the Nantucket area. It's almost like you almost know it now because you
and
read
I've
so
been
many of her
there.
books.
And I've
Yeah.
been
Oh,
there,
okay.
so
It's
I
even
like
better.
Nantucket.
Hmm.
So, I love reading about places that I've been, and people that know more about it than I do. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I know people like really enjoy the locations in Greece that I mentioned,
That's
that I bring into the story as well.
Oh,
Um,
that's wonderful.
yeah.
I love that. We're almost running out of time. I just realized what time it was. Um, is there a way for people to get a hold of you? Like, are you like easily reachable? Are you more reachable on a website or your Instagram account? Like, how could people get a hold of you if they want to like sign up for your newsletter, learn about your books, those kind of things?
So I'm very accessible. I'm on Instagram. I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook reading group called
Oh, that's nice.
the Reading Resort.
Okay.
Um, I have a website. It's effiekammenou.com. I, you know, I have a newsletter. I mean, if you go on my social media, I'm on Linktree, everything, I have the Linktree there for everything that you
Okay.
can get in touch with me. My email is on there. People can email me directly. All of my books, the back matter has all that information as well. Um,
Perfect.
yeah, and I'm doing a book signing
Oh,
on
okay.
December 14th, Saturday the 14th, at the Book Place in Riverhead.
Oh, is that the one? It's kind of like a house.
It's
Like it
adorable.
looks like a house.
It's attached to Jerry and the
Oh,
Mermaid in
okay.
Riverhead
And
on
it's called
Main
the
Street.
Book
The
Place.
Book Place
Okay.
Boutique, yes, from
Oh, wait,
11
what is
to
it called? The
3.
Book Boutique?
The Book Place.
Oh, the Book Place.
It's called A
Okay.
Book Place Boutique. It's the
Okay.
most adorable independent bookstore.
Very nice. Love
The
that.
place
We
is
need more of those.
adorable. Oh, she's got adult books. She's got a great selection of children's books. She's got gifts. It's the perfect time of year to go there too, because she's
Hmm.
got a lot of lovely gifts for Christmas and Hanukkah. For the
Hmm.
holidays.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay, so Saturday, December 14th, look for Effie.
yes, come
Uh,
visit
uh,
me.
excuse me?
I might even have some kurabiadas there to
There
pass
you
out.
go. I gave you the idea. Yeah, yum, yum, yum. I couldn't stop thinking about them as I was reading the book.
It's
But thank
funny.
you.
I have friends that always say, to me, do you remember what I missed the most? I remember the most about coming to your house? Your mother's cutapedas.
See, I told you, I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'd love to have you come on again,
I
Effie.
would love
Um,
it. Thank
oh,
you. Thank
thank
you
you.
so much for
Good luck
having
with your
me.
book signing. I'm going to encourage everybody to come out there if they're on the island. I'll put it in the notes and everything so people could take advantage and get a book signed by you.
Okay, great. Thank you. It was lovely.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.